joined today by Tina Boden, and I'm going to let Tina introduce herself very shortly. But just to give you a little bit of a background, Tina runs two businesses, the B&B Keeper and the Tiny Troubleshooter. And one thing I've noticed in this group over the course of the last couple of weeks and months is that there's a load of people, especially when it comes to the Tuesday rant and really sharing what really annoys you in your business at present, is that you feel like you can't escape. And I've noticed a lot of people talking about this, and I really wanted to reach out to Tina, and I'm so happy that she's able to put a spare bit of time to come in today to talk about it, just to tell you how you can escape, tell a little bit more about what she does and how it works and how anybody can do it. So Tina, thank you very much. If you'd just like to take the stage and just introduce a little bit about you, what you do and your background.
So my name's Tina Boden. I am the Mrs. B, the B&B Keeper, and Tina Boden, the Tiny Troubleshooter. I'm also co-founder of Microbiz Matters Day, which is a day that we hold online in the second Friday of January every year. And I am an independent business ambassador. I'm one of the leading voices for microbusiness in the UK. And at the moment, I am in Harrogate looking after a B&B for some people while they go off on holiday. And their cat Olive has currently climbed up here to join me, and she is moving my iPad all over the place. So not only do I look after B&Bs, I also get the pets as well.
The pet keeper.
Yeah, well, it was that I put a picture on Instagram last night of us out walking the dog of the people that were here. So my background, I'm the third generation self-employed. My eldest son has a plumbing, heating and tiling business in Scarborough, so he's also self-employed. So we're a long generational bunch of self-employed people. And I really understand some of the problems that are faced. My parents always had pubs and hotels. That's what I trained in. And by default, really, as part of the work I do with the Tiny Troubleshooter, which is working with micro businesses, those that employ 0 to 9, I was asked by somebody if I would step in to do some relief management for them. They have a B&B in Knaresborough, and I said yes. And the B&B Keeper became another brand that I now have, and what I refer to sometimes as a side hustle, although it's becoming my main hustle, because there are more and more people that own B&Bs, guest houses, small hotels, who want to get away. And as you say, Mark, in the community themselves, they're like, how do I escape this? And somebody that's got that knowledge, that's got that experience, that's been brought up with it, yeah, I've gone right back to my roots, and here I am again, B&B keeping.
Nice. So when did you get the idea? What made it become more than just a side hustle? What was the sort of the thinking and the feeling behind it?
So with the work that I do with the Tiny Troubleshooter, I help micro businesses look at problems they're facing, and I have a massive, massive interest in the well-being of the business owner and the well-being of the business, and how, if the well-being of the business isn't great, it impacts on the well-being of the business owner, and how the well-being of the business owner not being great impacts on the business. And for me, I see that in quite a lot of micro businesses, but when you're tied 24/7 to that business, that is when these problems start to occur. And it was a case of people needing to take a break. It might have only been a short, weekend break or a holiday. They just needed to get away. And as part of that, as well as coming in and doing the relief management, I then realised that people were going on holiday and sat on their sunbed. They might be going on holiday in January and February in the hospitality industry, but it's a busy time for bookings. So they're like answering emails, they're not switching off. So I introduced a virtual assistant service as well, and some marketing, in as much as writing. Not everybody can, they can't do the writing that they want, the content writing for their website or even Facebook posts. So yeah, whatever I can do to help, which is the same as I do really with the Tiny Troubleshooter. And the two of them link, and then all of that's brought together with the national campaigning that I do to make life better for micro business owners through Microbiz Matters Day.
Nice. So talk to me a little bit more about how it works. So I'm a B&B owner. in Yorkshire, and I'm looking to go away, but I don't want to close the business. How does it work when I reach out to you, and the steps in the process is, how does the initial stages? What we'll do is we'll walk through the whole process, but if you could just go through the initial stages of, I'm looking to go away on holiday. I want to break. I want to take my family away, but I don't want to close the business. Where do you come into this process?
Okay, so I'm not really bothered whether you're in Yorkshire or where you are, and actually the more interesting the location, wherever it might be in Europe or the world, I'm happy to come along. But what I arranged to do is have a meeting. So actually I use Zoom, we're using today quite a lot for meetings, a lot of remote. I encourage micro business owners and those that are short of time to meet remotely where they can, so that they're actually saving themselves some time and gaining a bit of time back for themselves. So I come along, meet with you, we chat, you tell me what it is you're wanting, I get a feel for you, you get a feel for me, because like not everybody gets on. So they might not want me to come. And so once we've got over that initial sort of hours meeting and they've decided, I refer them, I then confirm my rate. So I charge £125 a day. And for that, I arrive the day before the business owner is going away. So the evening of that business for a handover process. The day starts the following day. So the first breakfast that I cook, or the first breakfast that I manage. And I come in as the breakfast chef if necessary. Here at Acorn I do breakfast and serve. They've maximum of 12 guests here at Acorn Lodge in Harrogate. The property I'm moving on to this week at Newton House, up to 25 guests. So I go through that whole process. There then I step in, I do the breakfast, I do the administration, I do the shopping, everything that the B&B owner would do within reason. And so it's a bit like babysitting, and you have the responsibility of looking after somebody's business, which I always say is like looking after somebody's child. Mm-hmm. So you are in charge 24/7. If I go out, phone goes on divert, I come back, exactly, probably far more around the place than the owner would be, because they think, I'm going to need to get out for 2 hours. So that's how it works. And then right through however long the period is until 5 p.m. on the last day. Now, if it's going to be later than that, when somebody comes back, we sort of come, whatever the agreement might be,
Everybody's different.
Every job's different. You know what? I'm flexible. I want to get on. I want to make life easier for the business owner. So we have a handover process at the end. So I put together an expenditure sheet, what I might have spent on petty cash. I put together a handover sheet, so they've got a referral to it, any actions that might have to come out of what's happened while they've been away, and hand it back to them. And so then I go on to the next place, or go back to being Tiny Troubleshooter, or whatever it might be I'm doing.
So what is your max that you would work, as in like guest limited you would work with? Would you work at a hotel?
I don't have a maximum. Because actually I've just taken on, I'm going to be looking after another place where they are, they don't cook the breakfasts, but they obviously just look after the running of that property. And so they do serving of the breakfast in the morning, the whole administration side, the managing of the staff. It's a bigger place. It's fine. It's what I trained in. Hotel catering and institutional operations is what I trained in.
So you're quite happy in again, worldwide, max guest.
There was a lady the other day who was talking about having a baby. She'd found out she was going to be pregnant right at the beginning of their busy season. It's a ski resort, and I was like, well, can't you just find a B&B keeper, somebody that can come in and do and da 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 da. So I live in the accommodation of the owner or in the hotel accommodation, depending on where they are. And sometimes Mr. B comes to join me as well. So if people want repairs and maintenance doing, Neil, my husband, comes along and he'll do that. He used to have a property services business, so he's quite happy. Yeah. We're a very, very we'll adapt we'll do whatever. We just want that business owner, as I say, I'm really interested in their well-being. I just want them to have a great time, and we love what we do. And customer service is one of the things that I specialise in.
Mm-hmm.
Sales and marketing, customer service, for me, are key. So it's really important.
So obviously there's only one of you to go around.
There is, but I have now got a new team member. I have
Right.
another worker bee. And so I'm Queen Bee.
So what is the plan for B&B Keeper? Is it to expand, to have more little bees with the queen bee?
So we've got worker bees, and we've got some carpenter bees, which is like the guys that have come along. And yeah, it's the expansion, the virtual assistant side. I've got other virtual assistants that I can work with. So if I'm too busy, but I will be the one that they'll always meet the person that's come in, and they'll always, have made sure that is happening. But yeah, I do want to grow it because I want to be able to offer that service. I don't want to grow it to something that's massive, because at the end of the day, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know I'm micro biz girl. So maximum of 9 team members, really.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to be able to offer the service. And what I'm starting to realise is that there are more and more people out there who somebody said to me, I just want to go away for a long weekend in the summer like everybody else is doing. And I said, well, just go away for a long weekend.
I think it's a really important service, not only for people going on holidays, but there may be people who could be fallen ill, could have family things that they need to deal with. They just need to get away from the business. And hospitality is not like any other job that I've ever done or know of any job. Try and imagine a career or any other job where you invite strangers into your house to live. So there isn't one. And so having the ability to know that there's a service where you can reach out and have some support, somebody who knows what they're doing, someone to trust. But trust is probably one of the major obstacles you have to jump over being the B&B Keeper. With that initial meeting, you've got to get over that trust barrier, because at the end of the day, not only are you going in and looking after someone's business, you're going and looking after someone's house 9 out of 10 times, so it's trust is a major factor. But it's for families, and I don't see many young families coming into B&B world at the present moment in time. With the Airbnb and the rental thing booming, I see more and more startups who are just going straight into self-catering than they are into B&B. And I think for the big reason, and this is the reason why I took a step back from the day to day, is that I had a young family, 2 kids under the age of 4. Me and my wife at the granary, we were working split shifts, doing silly hours, 12, 13 hours a day. And I see that a lot. And you're right, when it comes to the summer holidays and all of your friends are meeting up and they are going to the beach or wherever, you're busy doing all of the things, and you look forward to a Monday, Tuesday, which is like, the busman's holiday, your day off. It can wear thin pretty fast. And to have a service like yours is a massive benefit and a massive boost. And I think it would help more and more young families or people that are thinking of starting a family to come into hospitality, have a B&B, because it is and can be an amazing career to come into. But the work-life balance is hard, and so to have a service like yours is thing. What have you found to be, the question I'm getting to is, what have you found to be the biggest the struggle or the rejections, or what is like the biggest sort of rejection that you have to come over when you're talking to somebody about your business? What have you found the biggest struggle when explaining what you do?
The trust thing is massive. It's absolutely massive. But the other thing is the cost. Now, I get that. You're looking at going on holiday, so that's going to cost you X, and then you've got to pay for me to cover. But actually, let's look at that in a different way. Let's look at the value of keeping your place open. This is a competitive world that we live in. There are lots of others out there doing it. Closing those doors, say, somebody going online and finding that you're not able to book at that time. There's a lot of other people that are out there, and all of those things. There's the value of your self-worth and your well-being to take into account. There's the fact that I can keep the marketing going, whether it's Facebook page going, whatever, you're talking about it. There's the fact that you do keep your doors open, that actually the competition aren't getting that the referrals, or unless you've got some sort of referral system going on with a neighbour or whatever, which is great if that's the way you do. But you know, it's like, and it's actually, it is that work-life balance, because you can very quickly become frustrated, as you say, with what's going on in your business, and just to step away for even 3 or 4 days, you can feel so refreshed coming back into it, and feel, you know, and that for me is what's important, because you've got your health is massive. As you say, hospitality. I was 2 when my parents bought their first pub that they then renovated, ironically near Harrogate, which is why I think I've been drawn back to this area. And actually, you know, they did work long hours. My grandparents had to sell up their place in Lancashire, both grandparents, and moved over to the village to look after us. And I probably started networking when I was 5 in the beer garden at the back, you know, because on a Sunday lunchtime I would be out on the swings while mum and dad were working, and my brother, and that's the way it was. But as you say, all these businesses have become harder. Life expectations have become harder. I mean, for God's sake, you know, I'm just about to start writing a series about authentic and credible business advice, because actually life expectations, we see all this, what we perceive to be perfection for everybody, and actually isn't. You know, people that say to me, oh, it must be lovely to run a B&B. And I'm like, yeah, okay, give it a go, because actually it's not that, it's great. And as long as you get the work-life balance, but it is that work-life balance. So it is an important thing. So trust, my day rate, but both of those I can guarantee that I can help you overcome and understand that.
You're 100%
I'm
right.
worth it.
You're 100% right, because if they were to close and take that time off, then they'll be earning 0. Now, you can literally, if you want to use your services and say go away for 5 days, and say you've got 6 rooms, 5 rooms, just put your prices up £10 to £15 a day. And pre-sell it in advance, and that is, you know, you put in about at least 50% of the cost towards your cost by just simply putting your rates up. You know, you don't have to close and have 0 income coming in. You're actually going to be losing money, because you're still going to be paying for the rent, mortgage, or whatever, the gas, the bills, and all of that jazz. So that, I mean, I think price is definitely something that you can easily get around. The trust thing, but that's why you have that hour consultation. It'll be important to anybody who's thinking about doing any service like this. Wherever you're watching this in the world, I'm sure there'll be a service similar to what Tina does. But I mean, the biggest thing would be to meet beforehand, definitely gauge, and you know, to make sure that you get on. And yeah, absolutely. But I wanted to go on.
The other thing that I would just say is that I will actually only take on property, hospitality, that has a certain rating. Because there is 2 sides to this, because I'm building a business, and I am, for me, it's all about the importance of making sure that the quality that you deliver as a business owner, so from the other side of it, as the B&B Keeper, as the Tiny Troubleshooter, that quality is actually reflected in the property that you're looking after as well.
That's a good question. So what do you look for then?
I really am not, you know, I get reviews and I get how people do them and everything else, but I look for in the UK a certain hygiene level. And I also look for, it's got to be 8+, or, you know, 4+, depending on, it's got to be that top end. If you were looking at a net promoter rating, if you use that, have ever used that system, I don't know if you've ever used Net Promoter, but they look at you being between an 8 and a 10, and that for me is where it's got to be.
So I thought what would be nice now is if we could move on to talk about the other side of what you do, which is the Tiny Troubleshooter, but more fine-tuning it down to the virtual assistant. Can you just, first and foremost, for somebody who's watching this who has never heard of the term virtual assistant or VA, let people know the simplistic version of what a virtual assistant is and does?
Well, a virtual assistant can help you with anything. If you imagine a PA, so you have somebody actually physically working with you as a PA, so it might be dealing with your emails, dealing with the administration, dealing with an aspect of finance, you know, whatever that might be. A VA does all of that, but virtually. Because in this current world that we live in, there are some amazing time-saving gadgets and apps and platforms that allow you to work with people. So there's a lady that I have worked really closely with who's a VA, and she's based in France, and I'm actually based in Scarborough. And well, I say I'm based in Scarborough, I'm not there an awful lot, but Jo's based in France, so she's done a lot of stuff around the emails, the admin and that side of things. And this is, for me, you know, it's very easy now for you to be able to log into systems. It's very easy for you to be able to share different things that you can then take the load off the business owner. So the Tiny Troubleshooter is very much about helping you to look at your business, where you want to go with that business, development, exit strategies, even all the different things. And I don't like to use the expression coaching, I don't like to use the expression support, but it is actually helping you to talk through. So I do talk through with the Tiny Troubleshooter, which is done remotely like this, and again, that's like a £20 an hour rate. It's just, and then the virtual assistant comes often off the back of that, where people say, I need this doing, I need that doing, I need the other doing, and there's more or less everything, and I charge £18 an hour for that. And we set up a system. It's really easy to use, especially if somebody's a bit of a technophobe, because I get that's like one of the biggest hurdles that I get with people saying, I can't possibly work with a virtual assistant, I don't get technology. Well, you know, right, so let's overcome that little hurdle first, and then we can.
So what, in the world of hospitality, and keeping it on the hospitality theme, and as many people who are watching this right now who are thinking, I really don't have the time to do X, Y, or Z, you know, I've got all of this, my to-do list is growing, I've got to look after all the guests, but I've got to do all of this. What are, in the hospitality world, what would be the most common jobs that you've had come to you over the last few years?
So dealing with emails, dealing with the booking system, checking them, making sure confirmations go out if they don't go out automatically, making sure that deposits have been paid, you know, looking at booking systems, online booking systems, helping people to set those up, you know, because when you've actually got to move from that paper diary onto an online system, and how much easier really is that, because it's something that's, you know, I get that everything has a hiccup, but and I work with a couple of places that are running 2 systems, oh my god, but it's all of those type of things. And then actually when people are they're at a place in that business, whether it doesn't matter whether they're hospitality or where they are, they often just need somebody to talk to, because running your own business can be a very lonely place. That's the beauty of the hospitality community and what you've created as the Facebook group, because actually, you know, like the Tuesday rant, how often do we just want to scream and shout and think, right, you know, let's just, and you can go in there and people give you advice. You think what you're going through is just you don't think that anybody else has experienced it, but suddenly you realize there are people in, you know, the same town as you, the same region as you, a completely different continent to you, are having exactly the same problems. And so it's just having somebody else to turn to that can help you in some way for a relatively small amount of money, because for that very small amount of money, you can maybe gain back 3 or 4 hours of time a week. That means you can maybe go out for lunch, or you could go out and meet a friend, you know, whatever it might be, that you could just go out and walk on your own, because sometimes you just need to get away from everything. Yeah. And then, yeah, that for me is the importance of all of that. And I think it's just an understanding that some of the most basic of admin roles can be taken off you, where you think there's only you can do them. There isn't.
When you first sign up a new client to the Tiny Troubleshooter or the VA service, is there Is there a conversation that you have where they find, so I would say, right, I know that I've got loads of things, but what specific tasks can I give to you? Do you have a set task that you
so
give
them? We come back to this, having this initial conversation. So we have this initial conversation, it might be half an hour, it might be an hour. That's like a free consultation process. My trouble is usually in that free consultation process, I end up going, well, you need to do this and you need to do that, and off they trot. Well, then they realise that I'm quite happy to share with them. And that comes back to the work that I do as co-founder of Microbiz Matters Day, working to make life better for micro business owners. But it's very much about them understanding the organisational structure of their business and how that's made up. Because the ironic thing is that most people, you know, the Tiny Troubleshooter, how is that made up? Well, I've got operations. Everybody's got operations. Everybody's got admin. Everybody's got finance to deal with. Everybody needs to market what they're doing. Income generation, how do I do it? And strategic development. Those are your three key boxes that fall under most businesses. Now, a lot of business owners don't even understand that basic structure. So they're like all over the place with the stuff they do. So we look at bringing it all in line so they can see how everything's made up. And then they're like, oh, well, I don't like doing that bit, right? That's fine. Well, farm it out to somebody else then. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't, and this is what we've been talking about. You can outsource that bit. There's certain things you can't outsource. You can't outsource your personality. You are who you are. If you're a business owner, your personality is usually what brings people to your business. Mm-hmm. You can't outsource motivation. You cannot go and buy a box of motivation from the corner shop, put some milk on it and be motivated. And you can't outsource passion. And nobody will be as passionate about your business as you are. I come in and I am caring with the B&B Keeper. I am caring. I want it, da, da, da. But I don't have that same drivers as the reason that you're running that business. I care. You can trust me. I will give it 110%, but you have a greater passion for that business than I do. So all those things are fine. Now, administration, finance, marketing, a whole raft of things can be outsourced.
Yeah.
And people don't think about that. And they get on this treadmill of thinking, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. You know, it's a little bit, I cannot get over the number of people that are still doing their own laundry.
Yeah.
In the hospitality industry. And I do get it, but it's massive. And I get that there has got to be somewhere like a micro business to set up in the laundry business to help other micro businesses, because for me it just seems to be something that they spend so much time doing.
Mm-hmm. No, you're
but
right.
I can't do laundry remotely. You cannot post me the sheets and I am not sending them back to you.
No, but it's definitely one thing you can't outsource to the Tiny Troubleshooter. But so if you could give one bit of advice, say that you're a hospitality owner who's watching this right now and you're thinking, right, I know that I need help because I've got all of these things going on. I'm trying to spin all of these plates at once. Is there a little tip or a little trick or anything that anybody could do right now that could free up a little bit of time? Not the laundry, because that's obviously, you know, that's a big tip, you know, try and find a local business. But is there something that you always do when someone comes to you, a nice little takeaway tip that they can go and do right now to get a quick win that'll help them with productivity, time saving, or anything like that?
They need to look at the things they're doing in their daily business and understand the things that they don't enjoy doing, the things that are actually taking them a lot longer to do, and look at how to outsource some of those things, because the amount of money they would spend outsourcing it, they are saving their own sanity and their own self by doing that. Far more money. Somebody that's doing something remotely for them can probably do it in an hour and a half, where they might be taking 4 hours to do something that they don't enjoy doing. Yeah. You need to understand your own skills, your own abilities, and your own bit of you that makes you tick, and actually then look at that, because you deserve, as a business owner, to have some time for yourself. And you have to preserve your own well-being in the best way that you can.
No.
Because we don't have time as self-employed people to be sick.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I said to you, I've woken up this morning, God knows what I've done to my back. But it's like, but you just have to carry on. You know, you just have to carry on, because that's what you need to do.
I know that outsourcing was a big thing that I did when I first came up with the idea of Boostly. It's what helped me grow this while still running the family business. And the way that I went from not outsourcing to outsourcing is, for a week, what I did is I got a big piece of paper, big sheet of paper, probably the size of that map behind me, and I separated it to days and hours. And every hour on the hour, I had an alarm, and I wrote down what I was doing in that hour. And then at the end of the week, I looked at it, and I just started to circle any tasks that I didn't like doing, or any tasks that I didn't need to do. And I put a number by every single one of them, one being that only I could do, and the really important task that I needed to. Number 2 is an important task, but what somebody else could do. And number 3 is a task that anybody could do. And it was a couple of 3s that I just picked off that list is one of the first things that I outsourced. And I found somebody, got them to do it for me. And it wasn't like day one, I sent through everything. It was a gradual, slow progression, because again, like the B&B Keeper, it's trust. You know, you are giving somebody access to your world, your site, your marketing, your emails, your whatever it may be that you decide to outsource. So it was a gradual process for me. Now, I outsource 80% of what I do for Boostly, which gives me time to do things like this, that gave me time to create the training site, which gives me time to go and, well, spend time with family, which is why you start up your own business. You know, you don't want to be doing the 9 to 5 and never seeing your wife and kids, but also as well being able to, that time that I'm saving, I'm able to progress my business, enjoy, you know, being a business development manager, which is what, you know, I want to do to grow Boostly. And if I was trying to do everything myself, I could never do that. And it's the same with when I was running the family business. If I try to do everything, you just get burnt out. And if you're burnt out, your business will suffer for it. So 100%, if you're watching this and if you're feeling any of the symptoms that Tina and I have been describing over the call, I really recommend you getting in contact with Tina, having an initial phone call or a conversation or a Zoom, and just seeing if there's any way that you can work together, whether that's the B&B Keeper or the Tiny Troubleshooter.
And the thing I would say is, whether it's me or it's Mark or whoever it is, whether you reach out in the hospitality community on Facebook, or you have a friend that lives 3 doors down that also runs a B&B, reach out to somebody, because often that, you know, we talk about networking and there's all sorts of networking groups, but networking is as much as just going for a pint or a glass of wine or whatever with a couple of other business owners. And actually, they don't even need to be in the hospitality business. They just need to understand about running a business and a micro business, those that employ 0 to 9, often those that employ 0 to 5, because it is a very different way of running your business. And reaching out, having that conversation can really help you, your well-being, you to understand, like Mark said, what you can offload and what you can't offload, and then to value your time. Now, you may feel like you can't afford to do something, but trust me, that £20 investment or that £18 a week investment is such a small amount of investment, and you will find that you get so much more back out of that. And that, for me, is what's important.
So thank you very much, Tina. That was amazing. I really hope that everybody watching has got something from it. And just, even if I can get one person to think a little bit differently about them, the business, and how they work, and if there any way that they can outsource anything to get more time back in the day, then I'll be so happy. So thank you very much, Tina. If anybody wants to get in contact with you regarding the B&B Keeper or the Tiny Troubleshooter, how can they reach out to you?
So you can visit my website, thetinytroubleshooter.com or the bnbkeeper.com. I'm on Facebook, Tina Boden, the Tiny Troubleshooter, and also the B&B Keepers. I don't know quite how the S got on the end, but anyway. Instagram, Twitter, the B&B Keeper, Instagram, the Tiny Troubleshooter, Microbiz Girl on Twitter. And just do you know what? If you just want a little bit of advice, just send me a message somewhere, and I'll get back to you, because I just want to help make life better for micro business owners.